How do we go about living as a human being when the world is on fire? I'm not even talking about the big wider world. I'm talking about the microcosm of our own world where there is just so much to do that it seems like we'll never get anything at all done. Even when those things are like self-imposed deadlines, it's still really overwhelming. If the big picture is too much, then we have to zoom in and think smaller. A little bit of prioritization and a lot of bit of mindfulness will help get us out of the giant mountain of rubble, emotionally or physically, that consume our lives. Let's talk about the prioritization. How do you decide where you're going to put your effort for the most maximum effect? There are a couple of tools that I use to help decide. Firstly, we're going to do this little exercise called an Eisenhower matrix, where we make two columns that are intersected by two rows. We have important and not important, and immediate and not immediate. We're going to take all the little things that we need to do and we're going to categorize them. The ones that are important and immediate are the ones where we want to focus our energies. That will usually put out the fires closest to you so that you can continue to fight some fires. But what if you want to spend most of your life not fighting metaphorical fires? That's when you become a time traveler, my friend. You know, all of the time travel movies where they're like, oh, you can't go back into the past because you're going to make a time paradox and you're going to split the timelines. You know, all of the science fiction that we have, you're going to make a time loop, like in, I think it's Arc, that one Netflix movie from forever ago. Everybody is always worried about the changes that they can make by going back into the past. But here's the thing, we're in the past of our futures right now. The little things that we can do right now can affect the future timeline. So if you haven't been getting good sleep, say, which is the foundation of all of this, everything falls apart if you don't get enough rest. Maybe start implementing some sleep hygiene rituals and, putting up some boundaries regarding when you go to bed, what you can do once you've gone to bed, and, all of that stuff to try and make sleep a priority, because sleep needs to be a priority. I know it seems like we waste a third of our lives not even being conscious. But that time that we spend in unconscious is when all of the repair bots in our little flesh mecha body go around and fix all the things. So if you don't sleep, you're going to hurt more. You're not going to be able to think properly. You're going to have poor ability to make decisions. Like, the amount of decisions that you can make is drastically reduced if you don't get enough rest. I know that it's really, really tempting to just, I'm going to stay up until I finish this thing, and then I'm going to go to bed and I'll wake up early. No. If you go to bed late, you need to wake up late. You can only wake up early if you go to bed early. Not tired? Okay. Lay there and think up a story in your head. That's what I do. Yes, it takes me about an hour to fall asleep from when I get in bed to when I'm actually asleep. I have the data to back this stuff up because I use a little sleep app. Storytelling to myself is the single best option that I have come across yet. If you have some tips for how to help insomniacs or those with chronic pain fall asleep, please, by all means, share them with me. Having specific rituals before bedtime, like a skincare ritual, which not only will help set your brain into the, ooh, it's time to go Betty bye phase, but will actually help your skin be the most radiant and youthful that it can possibly be, or, deal with whatever skin issues you are struggling with. I know that I struggle with some, and I have various creams and potions that I'm supposed to put on, and you can tell when I don't get enough sleep by how my skin looks, because I haven't been doing my rituals. Sometimes setting a timer on my phone for my bedtime ritual helps, but then, after the first time I skip it, there's a 50-50 chance that I'm going to skip it the next time. Those things have to be sacred. They have to be sacrosanct. They have to be the most important thing in your life at that moment. Because let's talk about time, really. There is now and there is not now. And if you put something off, it's never getting done, right? Unless you have the ability to follow a schedule that you set for yourself. In which case, I congratulate and envy you, because I don't. But if you're like me and you cannot physically bring yourself to follow a written schedule, well, my friend, the only thing that really works for me is I have to be very conscious about making sure that I check off my to-do list. I use an app not sponsored called Todoist, and I use this app because I can set up to-do list items that will repopulate automatically. So if I say I have to take my meds every day, when I check it off on one day, it magically appears on the next. If I have to re-up my med box every week on Saturday night, when I hit that thing on Saturday night, boy howdy, it auto-populates to the next Saturday, and that's one more thing that I don't have to remember to do to put that little item on my to-do list. The thing that I have to do is make sure that that to-do list is holy. That to-do list is something that I put eyes on multiple times a day. So I put all the things that I need to do on that to-do list, even if it's something that I don't need to check off in order to do. Like, I stream on Twitch Monday nights at 5 p.m. Central. I don't need to put that on my to-do list, but I still put it on my to-do list. When everything is going wrong, you need to have something go right, no matter how microscopic it is. Those little dopamine hits will keep us going. They are the ladders on the rungs out of the oubliette of depression and overwhelm. At least for me. So when things are going extra wrong, I will put tiny, little, very simple things on my to-do list just so I can check them off later and feel like I've accomplished something. Because there's nothing worse than looking at, like, say, a room you have to clean and knowing that any little bit of effort that you are going to do is just going to chip away at the iceberg of things that you have to do, and there will still be 80 or 90% left because once you uncover one thing, there are 7 more things to do, and it's overwhelming, okay? So I'm gonna pick up the dirty laundry off the floor on my to-do list. When I do that, I check it off. Hey, that's a thing that I have done. I can be happy with having checked something off my to-do list. You don't even have to call it a to-do list. Call it a to-done list. Call it whatever you want, as long as you make it your nexus of control. Because really and truly, what we're seeking here is some control. I know it's very tempting when you have no control to do something drastic to assert control. Like, I don't know, dye your hair pink. And that's okay. But that dopamine hit that you're going to get from doing that, I mean, like, yeah, you get a dopamine hit from seeing your pink hair in the mirror every day, and, you know, it makes you smile, and then you start to like the way you look when you're smiling. Great tactic, by the way. But just hear me out. Combine that with a list that you can check off. And it doesn't have to be a paper list. If a paper list helps you, then do a paper list. If the act of writing things down in an analog manner locks things in your brain the way it does for most people, because analog writing is different than digitally typing, it activates different neurons in our brain, then go for it. Keep your journal, keep your bullet journal, have a little pad of paper that you write your to-do list on. If, however, you are like me and your phone is constantly in your hand, then having the app on your phone is going to mean that the app is always there. Speaking of phones, let's talk about modes. I have modes because I have Android. This is the little thing that I can go, I am working. Only these apps are available to me, and only the people that I specify can interrupt me during this time when I have this mode on. That's amazing and helpful because I am one of those people who don't like to have notifications. I need to clear my notifications. And that can become a time sink because if I just pop onto a social media app and then I start scrolling, the dopamine trap is real. So what we really have to do is be mindful of those traps and try to avoid them, try to replace them. You have a hobby, right? You have a hobby, right? If you don't have a hobby, now's the time to get one. Something low cost, low barrier to entry, something preferably constructive that you do with your hands that will engage a different side of your brain than you do when you're at work. This is going to allow the part of your brain that you use when you're at work to rest. If you work in a creative field, like costuming. Maybe your hobby should be something like Sudoku or doing the Wordle every day, something that engages a different side of your brain than the one you're normally doing. If you find that you are doing a lot of problem solving and you are getting overwhelmed from having to do so much problem solving and having to make so many decisions, then let's go back to being a time traveler. You need to be a good time traveler and do now what is going to make future you's life easier, right? So if you have a lot of problems deciding what it is you're going to eat, plan that out in advance. Maybe even meal prep it. Remove decisions that future you has to make. I mean, you'll always have the option of like vetoing past you's decisions and deciding something new if you have the bandwidth. But being kind to your future self is going to get you way farther ahead on the road to being not overwhelmed. As a time traveler, what we can do is we can think about what we want future us to be doing, to be feeling, to be experiencing. And then we can set those events into motion in this, our present, which is the past of the future. Are you with me? If you want future you to be vibrant and rested and on top of the game, then you need to, in the present, enact the sleep rituals that will make future you vibrant and rested. And you need to do the organizational things that will make future you be on top of their game. If you have to construct a costume, then make a list of all the things that you have to do in order and put them on your to-do to-done list. As you do the things, cross them out. I mean, it doesn't even have to be as you do things unless you're really in need of that dopamine. Sometimes I just consult my list like 3 times a day just to remind myself of the things that I need to do. And I'll just check a bunch of things off as I go. And that, let me tell you, that dopamine is so tasty. Once we have prioritized things and decided on the best road for our time traveler meddling to take, we just have to apply that. And it's really hard sometimes to continue on that road when you look at all of the things that are needing your attention. The thing that I do, which helps immensely, is to not look at the things that make me overwhelmed. I ask for help if it's something that I absolutely have to do and it's overwhelming me. Even if it's just like, sit down and let me talk to you about what I need to do and then hold me to doing those things. Talk to me while I do those things. Immense help. When you feel like you need to isolate, what you really, really need to do is reach out to somebody. When you want to isolate, it's the worst time to do so. And I know, I feel really weird asking people to help me do things too when it's my responsibility, when like, this is my mess, I can't ask you to clean it up. But it's so much easier to be like, can you please talk to me while I clean my mess up? Can you please talk to me while I polish my tiaras? Can you please talk to me while I organize these 7 different costuming projects in order of how I need to do them? Can you please talk to me while I sort through the scraps on my floor through what is usable and what is trash? Can you please just be in the room with me while I think this through? We all need a friend who is willing to just be with us in the room while we think things through. Ask for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. Ask for help. Okay? Start small. You don't have to save the whole world. Just start with yours. That's enough for now. I'm struggling under a mountain of things that I need to get done before a very large, looming, self-imposed deadline. So I'm going to wrap it up with, are you drinking enough water? You figure out how much water you need to be drinking a day and drink it. I have this 2-liter pitcher that is my daily water ration, and I will make sure that I drink that 2-liter pitcher during the day. There are people I know that have a bottle that has half of their water ration, and they just make sure they fill that up and drink it twice a day. Make self-care as easy as it can be for you. Figure out where your barriers and hurdles are and work to dismantle them or lower them a little. Please make sure that you are hydrating, eat something nourishing. Please remember to take your meds. Do what you can do to make your life a life worth living. And I promise you, I'm doing that too. I'm doing my very best to take care of your friend. So please take care of mine. I'll see you next week.